The culture of the Faroe Islands has its roots in the Nordic culture. The Faroe Islands were long isolated from the main cultural phases and movements that swept across parts of Europe. This means that they have maintained a great part of the traditional culture. The language spoken is Faroese. It is one of three insular Scandinavian languages descended from the Old Norse language spoken in Scandinavia in the Viking Age, the others being Icelandic and the extinct Norn, which is thought to have been mutually intelligible with Faroese. Until the 15th century, Faroese had a similar orthography to Icelandic and Norwegian, but after the Reformation in 1530, the ruling Danes outlawed its use in schools, churches and official documents. This maintained her rich spoken tradition, but for 300 years the language was not written down. This means that all poems and stories were handed down orally. These works were split into the following divisions: Sanya, Vinter and Kavithi, often set to music, and the medieval chain dance. These were eventually written down in the 19th century mostly by Danish scholars. Music and chain dance. Traditional Faroese music was primarily vocal, and was not accompanied by musical instruments. Only in Tórshavn instruments like fiddles were present in the older days. When trade grew in the 20th century, the Faroese started to use imported musical instruments. Much of the imported music and instruments remained popular only in the capital and largest city, Tórshavn. Rural peoples remained true to traditions of the chain dance and ballads. The Faroese chain dance is a dance which only survived in the Faroe Islands, while in other European countries it was banned by the church. Due to its pagan origin, the dance is danced traditionally in a circle, but when a lot of people take part in the dance they usually let it swing around in various wobbles within the circle. There are no musical instruments used along with the dance. The dancers are singing ballads of various lengths, in either Faroese language or Danish, but usually the Danish is pronounced in a special Faroese way. One man or woman leads the song by singing the first few words and then the others follow. The leader is called skipari. The skipper can get help from other dancers who can help him or her to remember the verses. A ballad can be very long with a couple of hundred verses which must be learnt by heart of the skipper. The following description is by V.U. Hammersheim, Faroes Anthology, 1891. The storyline of the ballad is attended by everybody with great interest, and if something especially pleasant or moving occurs, you can see it in the look and movement of the dancers. When the rage of the battle is described, the hands are clenched together, and when victory is in hand, they make cheering movements. Such is the importance of the dance as a cultural element that the Faroese refer to it as Faroese dance. However, it shall be stated that the dance hasn't the same popularity it once had. This especially applies to younger generations. Handcrafts. Lace knitting is a traditional handcraft of peoples of the Faroe Islands. The most distinguishing characteristic of Faroese lace shawls is the center-back gusset shaping. Each shawl consists of two triangular side panels, a trapezoid-shaped back gusset, and edge treatment, and usually shoulder shaping. Sports. Football is the most popular sport on the Faroe Islands, closely followed by handball, volleyball, rowing and swimming. Football. 60% of those who play sport on the islands play football. A 1-0 victory over Austria on the 12th of September 1990 still ranks as the greatest day in the history of football on the islands. But the national team has also recorded a number of impressive results against against higher-ranked teams, primarily on home soil. As of 1 July 2008, the Faroe Islands international record was played 48, won 3, drawn 5, lost 40. 5 different institutions run football schools, attended by 1,000 children each year. Tody Johnson is probably the most famous player from the Faroe Islands of all times. He used to play for FC Copenhagen in Denmark and was the top scorer in the 2002-2003 season. Boat race Kaprotha. Kaprotha is the national sport of the Faroe Islands. There have been rowing competitions a long time back, at least as far back as to the 1930s, and now the competitions are still in a regular routine, held in 7 different places during the weekends of June and July. The races are always part of a regional festival, called a Stevna, with many other activities as well. The first regatta is always held in Klaksvik on Nordic in the first Saturday of June, sometimes it can be in the last Saturday of May. The final regatta is always held in Tórshavn on the National Day, or actually on the day before the National Day, which is called Olavsøka. The boat race on Olavsøka is the only race which is not necessarily held on a Saturday, but on the 28th of July, whatever the day of the week it is. The regattas in between the Norðoyastevna and Olavsøka are held in these locations. Jónsøka is every even year held in Vega and every odd year in Tvøroyri. Both villages are in Suðuroy, and this is the only place which is not possible to drive by car from Tórshavn. People have to take the ferry Smirol to Suðuroy, which is a 2-hour journey. Jónsøka is held on a Saturday around the 24th of June. Íslandsstevna is always held in Runavík, but the boat race is only held there every second year. Odd years the regatta is held in Fuglafjörður at the Varmakelda festival. Swimming is a quite popular sport in the Faroe Islands. The Faroese freestyle swimmer Pál Joensen is the sportsperson of the Faroe Islands with the best international result for the country, a bronze medal at the 2012 FINA World Swimming Championships. In July 2011 he qualified for the finals in the men's 800 meters and 1,500 meters freestyle at the 2011 World Aquatics Championships in Shanghai. He placed 4th in the 1500 meter freestyle event, 0.67 second behind the bronze medalist. At the same competition he placed 5th in the men's 800 meters freestyle. In 2010, Joensen won silver in the 1500 meter freestyle swimming event at the European Aquatics Championship. As of 2012, he trained in a 25-meter long pool because there was number 50-meter pool in the Faroe Islands. The first 50-meter swimming pool is under construction in Pál Joensen's hometown Vega. It is expected to open in 2015. It is named after Pál Joensen. Pál Joensen competed at the Olympics in London 2012, but he didn't make it to the finals. He competed for Denmark because the Faroe Islands are not allowed to compete at the Olympics, as they don't accept countries which are not independent. He swam for Denmark in the men's 400 meters free, 1,500 meters free and the 4x200 meter freestyle relay. He was the first Faroese swimmer to compete at the Olympics. Pál Joensen has moved to live and study in Denmark after finishing high school in the Faroe Islands in August 2012. Only one other Faroese athlete has participated in the Olympics. Katrin Olsen was rowing in a doubles colour in 2008, also for Denmark. The Faroe Islands are allowed to compete at the Paralympics under its own flag. Faroese swimmers have represented the Faroe Islands at the Paralympics since 1984. Christina Naes won the first and only gold medal for the Faroe Islands at the 1988 Summer Paralympics. Katrin Johansson, Tora Vithkeldu and Heidi Andresen have won silver or bronze medals at the Paralympics. Only one person has competed in another sport than swimming at the Paralympics for the Faroe Islands, which was in table tennis in 1992 when Heine Festerstein competed. Island Games. The Faroe Islands compete in the biannual Island Games, which have been hosted by the islands in 1989. The Faroe Islands won the Games in 2009 Island Games with 34 gold medals, 23 silver and 24 bronze.